our second guest at Crypto Weekly today, we have Mr. Alessio Quaglini, CEO of Hex Trust. Hello, and thank you so much for joining us.
Hi.
So I would like to start this conversation with you to talk about custody issues, because previously it was thought to be really critical for institutional investors, but they had a couple of challenges and issues with this issue. So to what extent do you think that we have solved the issues relating to custody? Where are we today, and what's your vision?
Right. So first of all, custody is really the backbone of crypto institutional adoption. Without custody, it's going to be very, very hard to enter into this phase of institutionalization of crypto. Crypto custody is about four things. The first one is really the safeguarding of the assets. The second one is enabling all those custody-related on-chain services, governance, staking, Web3 access, etc. Then we have the connectivity with financial services, which are critical for financial institutions. We're talking about, for example, DMA, connectivity to exchanges, collateral management, margin management, escrow arrangements, etc. And lastly, which is going to be probably the most important for institutionalization, custodians are basically the AML gatekeepers. So basically all the monitoring, all the filtering of transactions the regulators request for crypto players to enable crypto transactions will have to be managed by custodians who are the actual keepers of the assets. So where are we today? I think the problem is basically solved. We have a few players that have been around for a while. We have some of the traditional players, such as Fidelity, that have entered the space, and the solutions that we have in the market are already quite satisfactory to satisfy the regulatory requirements and the requirements of institutional investors.
I mean, Alessio, you mentioned these four elements, right? The safeguarding, the enabling, the connectivity with financial services, and the AML gatekeepers. To what extent, if we look down 5, 10 years down the line, what do you think is how the role of custodians will change, especially with regards to these activities?
Well, the role of custodians, I think, is going to follow a similar path to the role of custodians in traditional finance, but with additional responsibilities. The same role, why? Because obviously, custodians don't only have to safeguard the assets, but they're the ones that facilitate all the settlements and all the connectivity between financial institutions in the market. In the crypto space, however, custodians also have I would say, a technological responsibility. So crypto assets, I don't want to get too technical, but they are managed on chain. And some of the primitives of these assets are written technologically in the asset itself, and only the custodian can enable those services. A broker cannot do staking for somebody who holds the assets with the custodian. It has to be the custodian. The access to Web3 or DeFi platforms has to be enabled by the custodian. And this is a fundamental difference in terms of trajectory of development of the market and of the responsibilities of custodians compared to the traditional services.
So let's talk a little bit about market trends. So how do you see new trends shaping custody management for digital assets? What trends are you seeing right now, and what do you expect for the next decade?
I think there's a couple of things. So the first one is that we were in a phase until now. If we really divide the development of the crypto market, we had the first phase, which was the tech phase, kind of developers, enthusiasts about the technology. Then we had the retail phase, which basically made the asset class known. Now we are in the institutional phase, where institutional investors, they demand certain types of arrangements to make sure that. Now, the way the market is developing is really in that direction, right? I think until now we had, I would say, a regulated market, which was a little bit smaller. We had a completely unregulated market, but the reality is that a lot of players were playing in some kind of gray area because regulation was not there, was not clear, etc. Now this gray area is shrinking. So companies from now on, since we're entering the institutional adoption phase, they will need to choose whether they want to be in the regulated area or in the unregulated area. In my view, the regulated area is going to be much bigger than the unregulated area, but the gray area is going to be gone very soon.
Because of this area, you mentioned the regulated area, from a client mix perspective, Alessio, are you seeing the type of client you have change, especially following the bull market that we've been seeing for the last couple of weeks, or is it really similar to what you've seen in the last couple of years?
Of course, I mean, I think the type of clients that we have really following the same direction, the same trajectory. On the issuer phase, even token issuing companies, they're becoming much more institutional. Some of them are even regulated, right? On the buy side, we're seeing more and more regulated institutions. We're seeing funds, ETFs, etc. Obviously, ETFs are going to be probably the biggest type of clients that we expect to have in the future. And then on the service provider side, you're seeing companies that already acquired licenses, and this kind of type of clients that didn't exist until a few years ago.
Thank you so much, Alessio, for this insightful interview. Alessio Quaglini, CEO of Hex Trust. Thank you so much.
Thank you.